What's going on, everybody? Rhinoceros Rex here, back with a little bit of an update video, just a very quick update that is mostly pertaining to my Japanese studying. I know a while back, and I mentioned this in a recent homebody video, but a while back I had began to make some videos for the channel that were of me playing Animal Crossing, just games, but Animal Crossing was what I had been doing in Japanese to help with my studying. And then all of a sudden, things kind of went away. The Japanese stuff went away. And I wanted to kind of do a short little video kind of explaining what happened and explaining how things are changing moving forward. So if you didn't see the homebody video, I kind of, I think it was the second to last episode, I think. So episode 13, I believe. If you didn't see that, I did cover this in there a little bit, but this is going to be slightly more in-depth than that. So essentially what happened is that my ADHD kicked in quite a few times, and you'll notice that I generally will put videos out every Monday through Friday, and then the Japanese videos were on Saturday. And there were times periodically where there would be a random, like Monday and Tuesday, that there was no video, or like a random Friday, or just a Monday, or something like that, where there was no video. And then this past week, as of recording, so if you're looking at the week of October 2nd and 3rd, which it is October 4th right now, you'll notice that the previous week, there are no videos at all that week. And the reason for that is that my ADHD kicked in with that as well. So here's kind of the thing that happened. With last week, it really came down to that we just had a bunch of issues come up with, like, just stuff kept happening. I would try to sit down to record, and then the now 5-year-old would wake up. And there was one night when I was going to record pretty much all of my videos that night, because I had not recorded them the night before because my ADHD kind of burned me out that night, because I'd been doing a bunch of stuff that day. And then I had to spend 2 hours trying to put him back to sleep. And so I didn't get to record any. And I was like, you know what? I'll just take this time, just relax, not make any videos, not worry about it. So that's what happened last week. But with the Japanese videos specifically, and my Japanese studying as a whole, I kind of want to give an update on that. So what's been happening is that with the very last video that I made in Animal Crossing, after that, I kind of, again, ADHD hit, and I kind of got burnt out of trying to make those videos, because those ones are a little more difficult to make. They're more difficult to edit, because I have to put extra stuff into them. I have to add in translations and stuff as I'm going a little bit. I was doing a few of those, putting translations on the screen, things like that, and I don't regret doing that, but my ADHD will kick in every once in a while, and essentially it sees that as just too much work that I just don't want to do. And so my brain will just kind of shut off and go, I don't want to do that. So that's kind of what happened with that. Also, oh no, that was it with that. So going forward, here's kind of how my Japanese stuff is going to go. I don't know how long it's going to be before I play Animal Crossing in Japanese again. It might be a little while before you see any of my actual, like, Japanese video game playing videos come up. But I'm thinking I might put up an update video, kind of like this one, just every once in a while, just kind of talking about how my Japanese studying is going, and what I've done that week, different things like that. Partially because I have slightly changed the way that I'm studying. I was originally going to use video games, using, like, playing Animal Crossing as kind of my main method for studying. And it is still going to be a way that I kind of help myself learn, along with reading I have the Satori Reader app, I believe I talked about in a video before, and different things like that. I also have some manga that I need to get through as well. but my main method of study has changed. And that's partially because I found a program that I can use that will actually get me to a more conversational level rather than just understanding and knowing the words. It will, it in theory will get me to a better level conversationally, to be able to speak more, which is the goal. And that's another thing I'll touch on at the end of this video is like what the end goal is for this, for my Japanese studying and everything. So what I have been using, so like I've still been doing Duolingo because my wife and I have kind of been doing that together a little bit. She's studying Scottish Gaelic while I'm studying Japanese, and so we've kind of been like kind of keeping each other in check a little bit. And I don't generally do a whole lot on there because Duolingo is really good as a supplementary thing, but not necessarily as a main thing. But I do have I don't know if you can see it on there, but I do have a 95-day streak going. And yes, it is 1 o'clock in the morning while I'm making this. And so it's purple right now because it's supposed to be time to practice. But the main method that I am using to actively study Japanese is this guy right here, Rocket Japanese. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One is that Rocket Japanese is based on audio lessons. Much like Pimsleur, it's actually very similar to Pimsleur. There's a few differences in some of the stuff that they add, some of the extra stuff that you can do, don't necessarily have to do, I guess, unless it locks it. I don't know if it doesn't unlock the next module until you've completed the first one. But anyway, but there was I kind of started to get interested in it after watching a few videos about it, and I'd been meaning to try and find something that was kind of audio based that I could listen to while at work, which I'll explain in a little bit. And Rocket Japanese is the one that kind of stuck out to me. I've done Pimsleur before, but I think I really wasn't doing it the right way. But so far, Rocket Japanese has been very, very useful for me. And it also helped that the video that I watched, they had a discount code for Rocket Japanese. And so I was able to get a really good deal on the program. So I have all 3 levels of the program unlocked. So in theory, I should be able to get to a pretty high level conversationally with the Rocket Japanese app. And so that's my main method of studying. So I'm studying, main method is Rocket Japanese, supplementing just a little bit with Duolingo, and then thirdly, I'm supplementing as well with reading manga, reading the Satori Reader. I have some Japanese novels down here that I want to get to eventually, but it's going to be harder. As well as I've also been listening to mostly Japanese music, and I started watching anime again. I started watching Haikyuu. For any of you who don't know, that's the volleyball anime. I started rewatching that because I only watched the first 3 seasons, and there's like 7 now, so I need to, get my ass in gear and kind of get caught up. Yeah, so that's my kind of main method. With Rocket Japanese, I kind of want to tell you about how I'm actually doing it, and as well as like kind of what led me to this. So the way that I'm doing it is that while I'm at work, because I work overnights, and I work at a retail store, and so we just stock shelves the entire night. That's all we do. With the exception of one night a week where all we do is take the stuff that's on the very, very top shelf and pull it down into its homes. We don't have any freight that night, so we just kind of pull it down into its homes and try to clear out those top shelves and make room. While we are working the freight, because we'll kind of break down everything and then we'll put everything in the aisle where, near where it's supposed to go, and then we'll start at one end of the aisle, stock all the freight. When we're at the point where we're stocking all the freight like that, I will turn on an audio lesson, one of these audio lessons, and I will literally listen to this audio lesson over and over. And I will say the words out loud. It has you repeat things periodically, new vocab words and stuff like that. And I am actively saying those words out loud as I'm working. Does it make me feel a little bit silly and almost a little embarrassed? I'm not necessarily embarrassed, but a little bit silly. Yeah, maybe a little bit. It kind of makes me giggle every once in a while when I repeat something in Japanese. I'll hear one of the phrases, and then I repeat it out loud. And one of my coworkers, because it's at that point it's midnight and the store's closed, so it's just us in the store, and they just look over me and they just look like, the heck was that? And I'm always like, it's my Japanese lesson. I'm repeating it out loud, and they usually laugh, and I, kind of move on. But yeah, so I've done the first 3 audio lessons, and especially the third one because it was a little more difficult. I listened to the third one, oh God, maybe like 20 times in one night because they're about 20 minutes long. So I came close to like 15 to 20 times in one night that I listened to that one because I was struggling. But again, repeating it and repeating it. But it has actually, because of how well it's going, it's given me a lot of confidence in how well it is working and in how well this program seems to be gearing up to help me to continue to learn Japanese, which is really exciting for me. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I haven't done as much reading recently, just because I really haven't gotten to a good point yet where I can make use of that. So what led me to all of this and to kind of changing things up and to like, not necessarily changing things up, but like to hitting Japanese really hard and to getting way more serious about it. I was already serious about it, but like this kind of pushed me even further. Is I was watching an interview on a podcast. I don't know, maybe it was the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know, where Neil deGrasse Tyson was being interviewed, and they were talking about Michael Phelps, and they were talking about how people are always like, how does he swim so fast? How does he always win these races? And they're like, oh, it's because he has gigantic hands that kind of make him be able to pull the water better. He has really long arms that kind of give him make him able to propel himself forward better, and this and that and the other thing. And in all reality, the reason that he got so good at swimming and why he was able to win so many medals was because he was in the pool 30 hours a week. He treated it like a job. And then I think he was working out for another, however many hours. So like it could have been very well been 40 hours a week that he was dedicating solely to swimming. And if you think about it, if I think about it, I work 40 hours a week in that retail job, and working 40 hours a week like that and doing the same job and doing the same thing over and over again and like essentially practicing, you get really good. You figure out where things go. You figure out the best way to the best order to do things in, the best way that works for you. And it makes you go a lot faster. And so my brain was like something finally clicked in my brain. It was like, hold on. That's how I need to think about it. I need to treat this almost like a job, and in my case, because I don't always have as much free time, I need to treat this like a job. I need to do as much studying as humanly possible. It's one of that type of thing. And so that's what I started doing. I started doing as much Japanese as I could. In my spare time, I'm watching anime in Japanese. Yes, with the subtitles on, for right now. But I'm doing that in my free time, or I'm doing some Duolingo lessons in my free time. If I only have a couple of minutes, I am listening to those audio lessons over and over and over again at work. And then on my breaks at work, I didn't mention this before, on my breaks at work, I'm then doing the flashcards and the other drills that go along with those lessons. So that by the time I leave work, I have done an entire lesson and I'm feeling pretty confident about what I've learned. And I'm starting to feel more comfortable about speaking those Japanese phrases, not English, obviously. So the last thing I'll mention really quick here is that I wanted to talk about what is the goal that I'm aiming for. Because with ADHD, it's really important to have a goal, but not a goal that is, it's not necessarily about achievability, at least not for me personally with my ADHD. It's more about the goal being more solid, more cemented, saying that I want to get conversationally fluent in Japanese within 6 months or a year. That doesn't make sense to my brain. Like even saying that, like my brain immediately kind of panicked. Whew, maybe I shouldn't even mention that. But my brain just immediately panicked. And I'll calm down later. And was like, because our brains don't understand that. With our time blindness, our brains can't wrap themselves around time. So we need a more solid goal. So like when I'm at work and I'm like, okay, I want to finish, I'm just going through stocking freight and I'm like, okay, I want to get from this, I want to be get all the way to this section by first break. That's a more solid thing. First break, like I understand that. It has nothing to do with time. It has to do with an event. That an event is more solid at least my brain. I think that works for, it's more than just me. It's not just me, not just my ADHD. But an event is better. So in this case, I want to get to a decently conversationally fluent, like as fluent as possible, as I can. So I'm not necessarily setting a goal for myself in like the level of fluency. I just want to get as far as I can by the time that we take our next trip to Disney World. That's the goal. Because our next trip to Disney World is September 16th of next year. 16th? I think it's 16th. It's in September. It's in September of next year. It's some point in September. I don't know what I don't remember what the official dates are. But that doesn't matter. At least not for the video's sake. It's in September of next year. So right now it's October. So that means I have 11 months in between there. Which again, shouldn't have said that. Made my brain panic. But that's my goal, because I want to be able to go to the Japan Pavilion in Epcot and have a good conversation with some of the Japanese people in Epcot so that I can practice. And so I can test myself and see, can they understand me? It also just gives my brain something to focus on and, a goal to shoot for, which is really good for people with ADHD, is to have a goal like that to shoot for and to tie your dopamine to it, which my dopamine is really good with Japanese generally. But I believe that is it. That's all I wanted to talk about. So, that is just a quick update on my kind of Japanese learning and, just kind of everything. It may be a little difficult to do a huge amount of Japanese learning here over the next couple of weeks, just because we are about to, my wife is possibly going to go into labor with our daughter any day now, most likely. It could be any time over the next 2 weeks, like exactly 2 weeks now. So we'll just see how that goes. But I'll do as much as I can up to that point. So if you are enjoying my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also leave me a like and a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if you are studying languages like I am and what language you are studying. I'm actually really curious to know what all languages people are studying. It's always been fascinating to me. So with that, I will talk to you guys later.